بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you, my students? I hope that you're happy and healthy and ready for today's lesson, which is the final lesson in this unit and this curriculum, Unit 4, self-reflection. From the name itself, if you remember, when we took it in Unit 3 and 2 and 1, self-reflection, to evaluate yourself. In this unit, of course, to self-reflect upon yourself, to give yourself feedback about this unit, which is really important to know about your weaknesses, your points of weaknesses, and your strengths in this unit. But before you do that, open your workbook, page 119, exercise L. Complete the online blog about ethics and technology. Use the verb in the parenthesis and future progressive or future perfect tense. So let's read it quickly now. The technology is ready now, but are we ready for it? Technology has completely changed. Just to make you read with me, technology has completely changed the way we live and work, and it will continue to do so in the future. According to a market forecast, 5 years from now, e-learning will have reached. This is future perfect, of course, because here it says 5 years from now, e-learning will have reached a volume of nearly $6 billion in the highest buying markets. This amount will be spent on packaged content, development services, learning platforms, tool hosting services, authoring software, and platform installation. Higher education become the largest buyer by the end of the forecast period. Remember, when you have two events, we choose the future perfect. So how do we answer this one? Using the future perfect. Yes, will have become, will have, and the perfect form of the verb become the largest buyer by the end. This is the second event here, by the end of the forecast period. More than 3 million students in the US attend virtual schools. So do we have two events, or we're talking about an action that will be in progress, continuous in the future? Yes, so we use the, of course, future progressive. Will be attending virtual schools, and more corporations use e-learning platforms for meetings and training sessions. So, and more corporations, it's the same thing. We're talking about the future. Will be using e-learning platforms for meetings and training sessions. Moreover, rapid developments in robotics and AI, artificial intelligence, will mean that soon we will all be able to study or work remotely from the comforts of our home. We will send our robot to school or to the office instead. By 2025, it's quite possible that some households will own a robot to carry out porter-style tasks, such as delivering and carrying packages. By 2030, experts believe that robotics and the verb develop. And remember, here we have by 2030, so we have two events. Yes, very good. So now we choose the future perfect. Will have developed so significantly that smart robots will be capable of performing autonomously and make common sense decisions. By 2050, some scientists believe that smart robots, and the verb is reach. So it's the same as this one. So, yes, will have reached. It's the same thing, future perfect. Will have reached such a high level of intelligence that they will be able to provide emotional care and companionship to the elderly and sick. So the robots will develop emotions. So is this good or bad? It's according to your own view of this matter. Exercise M, page 119. Answer the questions about the text. So about the text that we just have answered. What will have happened by the year 2025? If you go back to the text, what will have happened by the year 2025. So this is future perfect in the question form. What will have happened by 2025? Go back to the text. Read it carefully again. So let's check the answer now. What will have happened by 2025? And also the second question, would you buy a smart robot? Why or why not? So of course this is according to your own opinion. So going back to question 1, what will have happened by 2025? So by 2025, it's quite possible that some households will own a robot to carry out porter-style tasks, such as delivering and carrying packages. By 2025, it's quite possible that some households will own a robot to carry out porter-style tasks, such as delivering and carrying packages. Would you buy a smart robot? Why or why not? Of course, the year 2025 is not far from now. It's almost 2 years or maybe even less. So are you excited about getting a new robot that will do some chores for you, some tasks for you? Are you excited? Or some people are afraid of the idea that robots are being intelligent, having emotions, having feelings. So what do you think about this issue here? Would you buy a smart robot? Why? If you say yes, why? If you say no, why not? So you can answer this one, of course, by yourself. I said, of course, yes, of course, to make my life much more comfortable and easier. Of course, if I buy a smart robot, this will make me comfortable and, of course, make my life easier because he will be doing my chores for me as I program him, of course. Or I program it because it is a robot. So would you buy a smart robot? Yes, of course, to make my life much more comfortable and easier. Exercise N, complete the conversation using the correct form of used to, be used to, would, was, were, going to. So complete the conversation using the correct form of used to, be used to, would, was, were, going to. So this is a conversation between Tom and Jim. Let's read it and fill the gaps here. Tom, can I talk to you about a problem I'm struggling with? Jim here. Sure, what's going on? Tom, my brother isn't doing very well in his history class. He be really hard-working student. So, my brother isn't doing very well in his history class. He, number one here, the verb is be, a really hard-working student. So, how do we answer this one? And remember the correct form if you want to use used to or be used to, would, and so on. He be a really hard-working student. So this is an easy one. Yes, he used to be. So he used to be. It means that he was in the past, but he isn't now. He used to be a really hard-working student, and he always listened to the teacher. So, number two, we have always and listen to the teacher. So, let's see the correct answer. And he would always listen to the teacher. He would. We say would when we are 100% sure. He would always listen to the teacher, but lately he has become distracted. Anyway, he has asked me to write his history report for him. I not go, but I now think that maybe I should. So, again, anyway, he asked me to write his history report for him. I not go, but I now think that maybe I should. So, number three, let's see the correct answer here. I wasn't going to. I wasn't, this is not here, negative, going to, go became going to. I wasn't going to because he asked him to write his history report for him. I wasn't going to, but now I think that maybe I should. He is my brother after all, so he thinks that he is helping him. Jim, I don't know. It seems kind of dishonest to me. If your brother be such a good student, why can't he write his own report? So it seems kind of dishonest to me. If your brother used to be such a good student, used to be, to talk about a past situation here, past situation. If your brother used to be such a good student, why can't he write his own report? Well, he really wants to join the school football team, and he hasn't been concentrating on his studies. I've written a few papers for him over the last few months. Jim here, oh no, Tom, that's terrible. You should stop writing those papers. Tom here, I know, but I want my brother to do well in school. Mom and Dad, use him getting great grades, and they will be disappointed if he fails. So, Mom and Dad, use him getting great grades. Use. So I think this is an easy one. Yes, are used to him getting great grades, and they will be so disappointed if he fails. If I help him, he will get a better grade in history. Also, he promised that he will do all my chores for the next month if I write the paper for him. So this is the conversation between Tom and Jim. Exercise O here, write a similar conversation between you and your best friend about a situation, the situation below. Write your conversation in your notebook. So we will read this situation, and you will write a conversation similar to the last one between you and your friend. Use used to, be used to, would, and was going to. So you are a writer for your school newspaper. You're working on an article about a local water pollution problem. You think that the pollution is from a factory that dumps chemicals into the river, but you aren't 100% sure. The pollution might not come from this factory. Some people are organizing a protest march in front of the factory. They want you to support them and to write a story about how bad the situation is. What will you do? Will you go with them? But you're not 100% sure. So in this situation, read it carefully. Try to have a conversation with your friend. Of course, use what we have learned. Used to, be used to, would, and was going to. And if you remember the project that we took previously, gather information about new groundbreaking methods of treatment and procedures used in Saudi Arabia. Then I asked you to make notes here about the groundbreaking procedure, target condition, the patients, the description, the origin of the treatment, the equipment used, and so on. So jumping to today's lesson, write your feedback and self-reflection, to write your feedback and self-reflection. Things that I liked about Unit 4. What did you like about Unit 4? Maybe some lessons, maybe the theme. What would you do if you were in someone else's shoes? Hypothetical. Of course, this question is hypothetical. So, what did you like about Unit 4? Things that I didn't like very much. Things that you didn't like very much about this unit. Things that I found easy in Unit 4. Maybe some of the vocabulary, maybe the conversation or the listening part about the rescuers in the mountain, and so on. Things that I found difficult in Unit 4. This is a really important one. What was difficult for you in Unit 4? What was difficult? So you write them here, and then you ask your teacher or your colleagues to help you and maybe revisit these lessons and try to understand them well, so they won't be difficult once you try to answer questions about them in the exam. Here's a checklist for Unit 4. If you remember, I can do this very well. I can do this quite well. I need to study and practice more. Talk about ethics and morals and moral dilemmas. To talk about ethics and morals, if you remember, a dilemma is a situation which is a difficult choice that has to be made between two or more alternatives, especially ones that are equally undesirable. And the word moral and ethical are related to ideas of right and wrong behavior. Actions that are good or right called moral or ethical. Bad actions might be called immoral or unethical. And also giving opinions. If you remember from the conversation, how to give your opinion. These sentences or these phrases will help you. In my opinion, I feel or I believe, as far as I'm concerned, the way I see it, it seems to me that I would think or say that. Present hypothetical conditionals versus past hypothetical conditionals. If you remember this lesson from the grammar, the present hypothetical conditionals talk about imaginary situation. The simple past tense is used in the if clause. Would, could, or might is used in the result clause. So we have two clauses, the if clause here and the result clause. The if clause, we used the past tense. If you asked me my opinion, but of course you didn't ask me. That's why we said it's imaginary. I would tell you the truth. And we use the past hypothetical conditional to talk about things that did not happen. Things that didn't happen in the past. They're often used to express regret or criticism. And of course, we use the past perfect in the if clause and would have, could have, or might have in the result clause. If I had tutored him, he might have passed the test. Did I tutor him? No, of course. That's why we call it imaginary. We use also the use of implied conditionals. If you remember the implied conditionals here, that we don't have to say or to utter the if clause, and the use of as if, as though for unreal situation. If you remember here, we use as if and as though plus past or past perfect to suggest that something is unreal or untrue. He talks as if he were an expert. Is he an expert? No, but he talks like it. He talks as if he were an expert. And we also use the future progressive and future perfect. If you remember from the form, meaning, and function, the future progressive, this is the form, will, be, and present participle, of course with ing, to talk about continuous actions in the future, actions in progress in the future. And the future perfect, that we have two events. A future perfect is used to express idea that an action will be completed before another action or another event in the future, or before another specific time in the future also. So, and the form here is will have plus the past participle. By this time tomorrow, we will have had a medical test result back. Also use the time expressions of the future. If you remember the time expressions, a week from today, by the year 2025, by the time, and so on. Also use used to versus be used to. Used to talk about a past habit that doesn't happen now. Used to plus the base form. For example, you say, I used to bite my nails, to talk about a past habit or a past situation. I used to be rich, and so on. And be used to, if you remember, be used to plus the gerund is used to talk about something that is becoming familiar in the present. Was, were, and going to, if you remember this lesson, the talk about the future in the past. Was, were, going to, then the base form. I was going to help him. I'm talking about a future plan that I made in the past, but of course didn't happen. I was going to help him, I was going to pay, and so on. Then write your 5 favorite new words from Unit 4. And if you're still not sure about something in Unit 4, read through the unit again, listen to the audio material, study the grammar and functions in the unit again, and remember always to ask your teacher for help. And with that, we reach the end of this lesson and this unit. See you in the next lesson, inshallah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك. أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم.